You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. In Minneapolis, the trial for the 3 cops who were involved in the death of George Floyd, that trial will be moved to March of 2022. The reason? For things to cool off when it comes to all the attention surrounding the conviction of Derek Chauvin, which I don't understand why you're saying cool things off. He's going to go to court in June, Reese, to be sentenced. The trial was supposed to start in August for the other 3 officers. Now they moved it to March 2022. I mean, Jesus. We still see how cops get the benefit of the doubt. Because I take it if any one of us did something, they wouldn't be waiting for things to cool off.
Right. And I mean, this is why you have to have a rally on the anniversary of a death, because what they try to do is they try to drag it out. They try to hope that people forget, they hope that people go home and move on to the next police shooting or move on to the next controversy or whatever the situation may be. And I don't think that they're going to be able to wait this out. As far as cooling it off, what the hell is that supposed to fucking mean? That is ridiculous. You don't cool off, because at the end of the day, you cannot bring George Floyd back. It's not going to be any less tragic, and it's not going to be any less of a big deal and a big story in March of 2022. And so all they're doing is just dragging this out, and it's just not going to go away. And I wish that they would not do that, because unfortunately they're prolonging the amount of time that George Floyd's family gets to have justice and gets to have closure. They're never going to have the closure in terms of their grieving process, but at least the closure in terms of the criminal justice system process. And so that is so unfair to the family. And this just is how they just continue to just rig the game against victims of police brutality.
Also, the judge, you have a federal trial, and so the judge said that before jury selection begins for the state trial of these cops, he wants the federal trial to move forward first. You have all of this back and forth. Bottom line, Amisha, it's about seeking justice. Folks want them go to trial so they can also be dealt with for the death of George Floyd.
No, you're absolutely right here. I think that there is a fever pitch amongst those who were in the streets for an exorbitant amount of time last year. Let's not forget that the George Floyd protests were the longest standing civil rights protests that America has ever seen. And I think that on the back end of that, we've seen so many Republican states push these laws, these bills that they have initially described basically to end Black people fighting for civil rights and justice in the streets. And I think that comes into play when we're talking about, these other officers facing the music as well, because many people honestly felt like after Derek Chauvin had his day in court and after he was found guilty on all 3 charges, that this was done. And there are a lot of white Americans who just want to close the book on this, say, okay, Black folks, you got what you wanted. You got somebody who got tagged. Now let's all move on. It shows that justice can be served. It shows that a jury can actually, stand in your favor. It shows that America's not racist. Let's move on. We saw a video. It was bad. Derek Chauvin got tried. He got convicted. Let's, live to see another day and keep it moving. That is not what we are doing here, because there were other culpable people there. These officers are culpable for not taking any types of efforts to stop Derek Chauvin for killing George Floyd. These are officers who were also problematic, and these are officers who also ignored the oath that they took when they became police officers. So yes, they should be held accountable. But to Reese's point again, I think that there is such a denial when it comes to the fact that they are some people who need to be held culpable. But there's also ignorance, I think, to the fact that they assume that just because Derek Chauvin, he's gotten his trial over here, right now we can move on. We can prolong this for as long as possible, and hopefully people will stop talking about it. Hopefully, there will be more trials, there will be more issues that arise between now and whenever they set this trial for, that we don't have to think about it anymore. And I think that that's a problem, because it shows just how many people within this legal system, within the police department itself, as well as those who just ignore the fact that police brutality continues to happen. It shows just how much they really do not value Black lives, and the fact that they are willing to hide their hands when it comes to others who are definitely deserve to have their day in court as well. They're just hoping that we will that we will not talk, that we will not protest, that we will not hashtag, and that they can go on with their days as if nothing ever happened.
Your cousin, Peter Cahill, the judge in Minneapolis, finally found a point of entry for exercising his own white nationalism by kicking the can down the road to 2022, trying to intervene on behalf of law enforcement. And I think it's important for us to understand that this isn't a country, it's not a nation. You understand, there's too many different moving parts. And I think one of the things we have to be better at, and as we organize, as we connect, as we communicate, is developing some centers, some nerve centers. It would be nice if one of the HBCUs would do it, but I don't really think that at this stage they're really in the frame of mind to do it, any of them, so that we can begin to think more deeply about how these parts affect each other. Every settlement, for example, the $27 million settlement in Minneapolis, which Chauvin's attorney tried to get Cahill to intervene, and he did intervene long enough to poll the jurors, but then that's preserved now for appeal. They're going to use that to appeal to get the verdict overturned. They probably won't succeed, but that's not really where I'm going with this. What I'm saying is that folk have to understand that every dollar that a city or municipality gives to a family is probably going to show up in a cut of social services, so that in fact, and then there is no right or wrong answer in this, but what I'm saying is that we have to understand how all these pieces move together. So as we as folks lose family members and are thrust into this spotlight that nobody wants, if we don't want this thing to unfold the way it's unfolding, then we need to put resources in the hands of those families. We need to be able to bump that up.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends, go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.